Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something. When a man walks away, you don't chase him. You hear me. You don't go running after him, crying, calling, begging, texting. Nah, you don't do that. You stand still, you fix your crown, and you remember who you were before he even showed up. Because see, when you know your worth, you don't have to remind anybody else of it. The biggest mistake most women make is thinking that a man defines their value. Baby, your value was established before he even got there. God put something in you that no other woman can replace. Let me break something down for you. When I say know your worth before you miss it, I'm talking about understanding that you are the prize long before anybody else sees it. Too many people, especially women, give their power away trying to prove their value to someone who didn't even earn a seat at their table. You forget who you were before that relationship started. You forget that you had dreams, confidence, and purpose before he ever said, I love you. But when you know your worth, you stop begging people to see it. You stop shrinking just to fit into someone's limited idea of who you should be. Knowing your worth is not about arrogance. It's about awareness. It's knowing that your peace is expensive, your time is valuable, and your love is a privilege, not a favor. See, here's what happens when you don't know your worth. You start accepting less. You tolerate excuses. You justify bad behavior because you're scared of being alone. You start believing that if he leaves, your world will fall apart. But when you know your worth, you realize that losing someone who doesn't value you is not a loss. It's a blessing. Because sometimes rejection is just redirection. God removes certain people to make room for the right one. You can't be crying over someone who doesn't see your light and still expect to shine. You've got to stand tall, wipe your tears, and remind yourself, I was valuable before him, and I'll be valuable after him. Let me tell you something. When a man knows you know your worth, it changes the game. He can't play you the same way. He can't feed you lies because you'll call them out. He can't come and go as he pleases because you've learned to close the door behind him. Knowing your worth gives you peace. It gives you strength. And most importantly, it gives you options. You stop settling for half love and you start expecting full respect. And that's the kind of energy that makes a man stop and think, dang, I messed up. You want him to want you back. You don't have to prove it through words. You show it through your actions. You move different. You stop chasing and start attracting. You get back to your glow, your grind, your goals. Because when a man sees you loving yourself the way he should have loved you, it burns. It hits different when he sees you walking in your purpose, smiling again, laughing again, and not even looking his way. That's when he remembers your worth. When you finally stop handing it to him on a silver platter. Ladies, your worth isn't determined by who chooses you. It's determined by who you choose to become. You are the prize, the peace, and the power. Never let a temporary situation make you forget your eternal value. Know your worth before he realizes it too late. Because once you truly do, He won't just want you back. He'll wonder how he ever let you go. Stop chasing, start attracting. That's the mindset shift that changes everything. When you chase, you send a message that says, I need you to complete me. But when you attract, you're saying, I'm already whole. There's a difference between needing and wanting. When you need someone, you lose yourself trying to keep them. But when you want someone, you can appreciate them without depending on them for your happiness. The biggest mistake people make after a breakup is chasing, calling, texting, showing up, trying to prove that they still matter. But all that energy does the opposite of what you want. It pushes him further away because desperation has a smell and confidence has a presence. A man can sense the difference between a woman who's lost and a woman who's found herself. When you stop chasing, you take your power back. You start focusing that energy inward on your healing, your peace, your growth. You stop waiting for his validation and start creating your own. Because attraction is not about looks or words, it's about energy. When you walk in confidence, when you carry peace in your spirit, that energy draws people in. That's why the best revenge isn't showing up with another man. It's showing up as a better version of yourself. It's that moment when he looks at you and realizes you don't need him anymore, you're not broken anymore, and you're not waiting on him anymore. That's when the tables turn. Men are wired to pursue. It's in their nature. When you chase him, you take away his role, but when you walk away gracefully, without drama, without begging, that silence pulls him in, because now he's wondering what changed, what made you stop trying, what gave you peace. And that curiosity turns into interest. That's how attraction begins again, not from pressure, but from presence. When you're living in your light, you don't even have to try to get noticed. You become magnetic. The same man who ignored your messages will start replaying your memories, scrolling through your pictures, wondering where he went wrong. Stop chasing love that doesn't chase you back. Stop giving your heart to someone who doesn't know how to hold it. Because the moment you let go of chasing, you make space for real love to find you. That's when you start attracting the right energy, not just from him, but from life itself. You start attracting opportunities, happiness, peace. Everything shifts when your focus shifts. When you stop chasing what's running away, you start attracting what's meant to stay. Remember, you don't get what you want by running after it. You get it by becoming the kind of person who naturally draws it in. So, fix your energy, fix your focus, and let your silence speak for you. Because when you stop chasing and start attracting, he won't just notice. He'll come running back, trying to figure out how he lost a woman who finally found herself. Let me tell you something powerful. When I say level up without revenge, I'm talking about rising without the need to prove anybody wrong. See, too many people try to use pain as motivation for payback. They say, I'm going to show him what he lost, or I'll make him regret ever leaving me. But that mindset keeps you tied to the same energy that broke you. The truth is, Real growth doesn't come from trying to make someone else hurt. It comes from loving yourself enough to heal. When you level up, you don't do it to get even, you do it to get free. Because the best version of you doesn't chase revenge, she attracts peace. When someone leaves you, especially for somebody else, it stings, it cuts deep. Your pride takes a hit, your heart feels heavy, and your mind runs wild with questions. But that's the moment you decide who you're going to be. The broken version of yourself or the reborn one. Leveling up means turning that pain into power. It means waking up one morning and saying, you know what? I may not have control over what he did, but I do have control over how I respond. You stop waiting for closure and start creating your own. You start building your dreams, working on your goals, upgrading your mindset, and walking like you belong to yourself again. Revenge might feel good for a minute, but peace lasts forever. When you try to hurt him back, you stay emotionally attached to him. You keep feeding that connection through anger. But when you level up silently, when you start glowing, smiling, thriving, that's what truly gets his attention. Because a woman who grows without bitterness is a woman who can't be replaced. He'll look at you and see that you're no longer chasing, no longer arguing, no longer trying to prove a point. That calm energy, that inner strength is what will make him realize he underestimated you. See, leveling up without revenge is about mastering yourself. It's about choosing growth over gossip, grace over grudges. You learn to forgive not because he deserves it, but because you deserve peace. You stop posting to prove you're happy. Instead, you actually become happy. You invest in your purpose, your health, your confidence. You walk into every room like you own your story. That's how you win, not by tearing him down, but by building yourself up so strong that even the memory of that hurt can't touch you anymore. When you rise from the pain, when you evolve without bitterness, you become a force of nature. That's when he looks back and realizes he didn't just lose a good woman, he lost his peace, his inspiration, his balance. But by then, you'll be too busy shining to even notice. That's the real glow up, the real revenge, the kind that doesn't scream, doesn't chase, doesn't compete. It just lives. Because the woman who levels up without revenge doesn't just get her power back, she becomes unstoppable. Silence is louder than begging, and let me tell you why that's one of the most powerful tools you can ever have. Too many women make the mistake of thinking that to get a man back, they have to talk themselves into his life. They call, they text, they send messages, they explain, they justify, and all of it does nothing but lower their value. When you're constantly explaining yourself, you give him control over your emotions, your peace, and your energy. Silence, on the other hand, is strength. It says, without a word, that you are complete, that you are not dependent, and that you are untouchable in your peace. Silence makes a man notice what he took for granted, because humans only appreciate what they can't control. When you stop begging for attention, you take away the drama, the chasing, and the emotional roller coaster, and that's when the shift happens. Men respect power, And power is calm. It's quiet. It doesn't scream. It doesn't demand. It doesn't chase. A man who sees you living your life in peace will start paying attention in ways he never did before. He'll wonder why you're not calling, why you're not texting, why you're not giving him updates about your life. That mystery, that distance, that silence, it forces him to reflect. It forces him to remember all the moments he overlooked, all the times he took you for granted, and all the ways he let you slip through his fingers. Silence is not passive. It's active. It's intentional. It's saying, I am not available for drama. I am not available for less than I deserve. And I am not available to prove my value to you. When you live in silence, you focus on yourself, your growth, your happiness, your goals, your friends, your family, your peace. And that focus makes you magnetic. You become the woman he can't reach with words or messages. You become the woman he starts thinking about, wondering about, missing without you even saying a thing. Begging for someone's attention cheapens your value. Silence elevates it. It gives you control over the narrative, over your emotions, over your story. It shows that you have standards, that you have boundaries, and that you are someone worth waiting for. Men are hunters. They are drawn to the chase, but they are repelled by desperation. When you stop chasing, when you stop explaining, when you stop fighting for his recognition, he suddenly starts wanting what he can't have. That's the magic of silence. It's not cold, it's not cruel, it's confident, it's powerful, and it's magnetic. So when you want a man to want you back, even if he's with someone else, don't scream, don't cry, don't chase. Live in your silence. Glow in your independence. Shine in your happiness. Let him watch from afar as the woman he took for granted becomes untouchable, unstoppable, and unbothered. Because silence, my friends, speaks louder than any words ever could. Focus on the glow up, not the get back. Let me make this very clear. If your energy is consumed with plotting how to get him back, how to win him over, or how to make him regret leaving, you've already lost before you even start. The truth is, the most powerful way to make someone come back to you is to stop caring about that outcome for a moment and start caring about yourself. A glow up isn't just about looks, it's about your mind, your confidence, your energy, your presence. It's about becoming someone who no longer waits for approval from anyone, especially someone who once walked away. When you focus on the glow up, you stop being reactive and start being proactive, proactive in your growth, in your happiness, in your life. A glow up sends a message louder than words ever could. It says, I am thriving without you, and my life is moving forward whether you are in it or not. That message hits harder than any text, any phone call, any attempt to beg for attention. When a man sees that you are glowing, living fully, and unbothered by his presence or absence, it triggers something inside him. He starts to question himself. He starts to wonder what he lost, and he starts to realize that he underestimated the woman he left behind. You don't have to manipulate him, chase him, or compete with anyone. The glow up does all the work for you. It's not superficial, it's deep, it's authentic, and it's undeniable. Women make the mistake of thinking that revenge, jealousy, or constant attention will bring a man back. That's temporary and it's weak energy. True power comes from growth. Focus on your career, your health, your friendships, your hobbies, your spiritual life. Build a life that is full and satisfying on its own. When you wake up excited about your day, when you go to bed proud of your progress, when you smile because your happiness is yours and yours alone, that energy radiates. It's magnetic. And here's the kicker. That's when he notices. That's when he starts thinking, she's different. She's stronger. She's glowing in ways I couldn't touch. And now she's out of my reach. A glow up transforms your energy from desperation to abundance. It replaces longing with self-respect, obsession with confidence, and fear with freedom. The truth is, men are drawn to women who have control over their lives, who are unstoppable, who can thrive regardless of what's going on in a man's world. That's what makes a man come back. Not chasing, not crying, not begging, but witnessing a woman who is radiant, independent, and fully herself. So don't waste your time on the get back. Don't waste your energy on revenge or manipulation. Focus on the glow up. Become the woman who shines so brightly that the world notices. And when he sees you, he realizes that he lost someone extraordinary. When your life lights up, when your confidence and happiness are untouchable, he'll want to come back, not because you demanded it, but because he sees the woman he cannot replace. Let me tell you something. Let him see the woman he lost, not the one who lost him. Too many women fall into the trap of acting broken, begging, crying, or trying to prove their worth after a man walks away. That's exactly what he doesn't want to see. What he should see is a woman who remains strong, graceful, and unshaken, a woman who didn't crumble when he left. Men remember the energy you bring into their lives more than the words you say. If he sees desperation, he'll feel in control. If he sees strength, confidence, and peace, he'll start questioning his choices. The woman he lost is not the one on her knees. It's the one walking tall, smiling, thriving, and untouchable. When a man leaves, it's easy to focus on him, to obsess over what he's doing, who he's with, and why he chose someone else. But here's the truth, obsessing over him only keeps you tied to the past. To make him want you back, you have to shift your focus entirely to yourself. Let him witness the transformation. Let him notice your laughter, your confidence, your presence, and the way you handle life like you're unstoppable. He didn't just lose a girlfriend, he lost a woman who carries herself with dignity and owns her power. That's the woman he's going to want to come back to. Not the one waiting, worrying, or pleading for his attention. Men are hunters. They are wired to pursue, but they will never chase weakness. They will never chase someone who makes it easy to be replaced. If he sees you moving on, upgrading your life, and glowing in every area, he'll feel that magnetic pull. He'll remember all the moments he took for granted, all the laughter he didn't appreciate, and all the love he failed to cherish. And he'll start asking himself questions he ignored before. How did she get so strong? How is she thriving without me? Did I really lose something irreplaceable? That's when he starts to feel the weight of his decision, and that's when you become irresistible without saying a word. This is not about manipulation or games. It's about authenticity. The woman he lost should be genuine, radiant, and focused on her own life, not consumed by anger or jealousy. She should be so committed to her own growth that her happiness doesn't depend on him. That kind of energy is magnetic. That kind of energy makes him reflect on what he left behind. The more he sees you living fully, achieving your goals, and embracing your independence, the more he realizes he's no longer in control.